Okay, so today the topic is emotional overwhelm. So we're emotional overwhelm. Someone mentioned this to me. I'm emotionally overwhelmed. You ever been emotionally overwhelmed? Too much? I don't know. Right. So, emotionally overwhelmed. And the idea is overwhelm. What does that mean? Overwhelm is kind of like you have a river and too much rain falls, so the flood water you get too much rain from a cloud, too much rain in the mountains, right? Too much rain, and then down over here you get floods. You get too much water and you get kind of floods. Overwhelm. That's what overwhelm means. It's an engineering term. Too much input, inadequate circuitry. What happens when what happens when you electrically when you put too many things on, like when you plug too many things into the plug? What happens?
Blow the circuit.
And let's say there is no circuit. What's going to happen? Fire. Because you overwhelm the system. Every system has a capacity to conduct current, to conduct water, to conduct energy. You know, our weighing scale that I paid $1,500 for, because it's a medical grade weighing scale, it has a limit of 500 pounds. So if someone who weighs 1,000 pounds steps on it, it's going to break the scale. Overwhelm. Every system is designed to handle a certain amount, and if you put too much, it's going to overwhelm, and you're going to get symptoms. So in the case of floods, if it's related to electrical, so if it's water, you get floods. If it's like electrical, you get power outage, fire, right? If it is mechanical, like a bridge or something, right? You put too much weight on a bridge, it breaks, etc., etc., etc. So, if it's your brain, if it's your mind, body, spirit complex, you get emotional overwhelm. What does that look like? Well, that looks like everything we see at night. You get panic attacks, you get suicidality, you get relapse to substances, behaviors, gambling, you get anxiety, you get a flood. So emotional overwhelm is really your brain. There's too much like kind of there's like too much rain, and it just floods your brain with overwhelm. And so once that happens, people become fearful. So ਜਦੋਂ ਆਦਮੀ ਬਾਲਾ like overwhelm ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ, ਡਰਨ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਕਿ ਆਤੋਂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ, ਕਿਵੇਂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ, ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ avoid ਕਰਨਾ. He starts to avoid. A person will start to avoid those situations. And so I get a common question, right? How much is too much treatment? How much should I work on my trauma? How much should I, how much should I do to sort of heal, to avoid this emotional overwhelm? And it made me sort of think of something that I wanted to share in this video, which is really simple, which is, there's a saying in the West about have your cake and eat it too. You heard that?
Yes.
Punjabi ch kiਵੇਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ, how do they say it in Punjabi? Like ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਬਾਲਾ ਕੁਝ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ. Have your cake and eat it too. I don't know if there's an equivalent Punjabi saying, but the idea is that you want everything. You want all the benefits of recovery, but you don't want the pain. One person I remember a while ago, he was like, come to a free service like Nam, and then like expecting like personal massages and like chefs and stuff. Like we got no money, we don't got no stuff. Huh? Okay, sure. Lalchi keh do. Okay. Like you want, your expectations don't match the reality, so you're miserable. A lot of people get emotionally overwhelmed when they want recovery, but they want to keep their unmanageable structure of their life. So their life is, and remember in the principles, right? 95% of stress is predictable. I stand by that. That may offend people, but 95% of stress is predictable. ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ ਟੈਨਸ਼ਨ ਸਾਡੀ 99% ਅਸੀਂ ਬਣਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ. We make 95% of our stress is predictable because we make it. Directly or indirectly, we have structured our life, direct or indirect, and then, I can hear it already. It's like, but so-and-so did this to me, and my husband did this to me, and my wife did this, and my employer did this. How can you say 95% they did this to me? And I'm saying, yeah, they may have done stuff, they will be held accountable, but stress is all about what you perceive. And my job is so stressful. Who chose the job? There's a study out there, like, I don't know if I should say this, but like, I don't know, it's maybe probably it's worth sharing. But, doctors are really burnt out, really tired. Like doctors, thak chukke hai. What's the stat on like doctors who regret going into like medicine? You know what the latest stat is? It's like 25 to 50% of doctors regret going into medicine. And you think doctors, siesta, dollar signs, big yachts, right? You think of doctors. Reality is doctors are shut in like rooms writing reports all the time, especially family doctors. Like, it's not stress. I go on vacation and my patients are like, who's going to write my methadone? Who's going to do this? It's stressful, right? But I chose to be a doctor. So I can complain all I want, but I chose the profession. And I chose to practice. This is what doctors won't say. There's a sign on the front desk at NAM that we recently put there because we need 1 week before, 1 week notice to renew medication. That's very reasonable. It's very, very reasonable. But because I was too accommodating, someone would show up, would renew their medication same day. People just get in the habit of it. आदत बन जाती है. Doctor उस दिन ही just उदों ही जा वड़ो, वो काम कर दूगा. He'll do your forms the same day. He'll do everything the same day. After a couple of years, guess what happens every day? Every day I have a whole bunch of people showing up who need something immediately because they're out of their medication. So I can say, yeah, all those patients stressed me out, but I actually made my own stress there. You reap what you sow. Every religion will tell you that. You reap what you sow. And that's true. That's law. Ape bij ape ikam. It's the law. Agree, disagree, that's your decision. But so directly or indirectly, we're responsible for the stress. And so emotionally overwhelmed people, I'll tell you what happens. They want to attend here during the day and go to a job in the evening. Thinking, oh yeah, it's just recovery, it's easy, right? They don't want to take time off on the weekends. I get lots of people who come, they probably should be here in the day program. They're like, oh, I can't take time off work. Do you have an evening program once a week? Oh, no, I can't do groups. I want an individual therapist. Oh, and that therapist only needs to be available at 5 o'clock because I have to do this. And then those people, let's say you bend over backwards to help them, and you give them some homework, they come there, that was really overwhelming. That was really emotionally overwhelming. But it's of their own creation. When you try to pack recovery, and you want to, who doesn't want to heal? Sare log heal karna chaਹੁੰਦੇ हैं. But who wants to sacrifice? Time, energy, money, whatever, effort, pride. Who wants to sacrifice for recovery? You have to give if you want to receive. That's another law. If you find yourself emotionally overwhelmed all the time, you have to ask yourself a basic question. Are you trying to eat your cake and have your cake and eat it too? Are you going to all these programs, spending all this money, but not giving yourself the rest that you need? You're YouTubing it up until 4 a.m., not giving yourself mental rest and capacity? Of course you get overwhelmed. Of course because you're hijacking your therapist at night. That's what sleep is. Sleep is the real therapist. Neend, sachi therapist. It's the real thing. Most of any gains you get a day, from a day of work on yourself, come at night when you sleep. Oh, but Dr. Gill, I can't sleep without a sleeping pill. Not one pill, but 4. And a drink. Okay, yeah, so you do a program and it brings up memories and you're not sleeping. Don't blame me about that. It's engineered. And so emotional overwhelm is really about if you want to do recovery. Now, if you just want to blame somebody, that's different. And yeah, you know what? Sometimes therapists do too much work with people. Sometimes it's too intense. Sometimes it's this and that. Generally, what I found is a system has a very large capacity to handle things if you give it what it needs. Adequate nutrition and time, energy, devotion, respect for the work, prioritization. Yeah, it's going to be hard going, but you won't get overwhelmed to the point of wanting to avoid it. That's the choice. That's the choice to look at you. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ? ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਦੇ recovery ਵਾਸਤੇ time ਬਣਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ? Do you make time for your recovery? Do you give yourself adequate nutrition? Okay, yeah, you can't afford it, that's fine, but do you go to the food bank? Do you are you doing everything you really can to increase your capacity for the emotional flooding that will come with any kind of healing? And if you don't, then you will be emotionally overwhelmed, not once, but again and again and again. It'll keep you stuck for decades and probably give you heart disease from all the elevated cortisol, diabetes, and all these autoimmune illnesses. So I said I'd keep it 15 minutes. I think we hit that. So thank you.